I better go like this. All right, you're on.
Okay, carburetors are not as smooth performing as fuel injection. Carburetors have a tendency to waste more fuel. That's why another reason why they went to fuel injection. They recycle a lot of the gases that are not burnt. Where on carburetors they didn't really do that, and I don't even know if they can or not, if they've even tried to do that. Carburetors don't start as easily. So like if you have a remote start, that's not good for carburetor. You won't find any carbureted cars with remote start.
Yeah.
Because you got to throw, Morning. So there's a lot of problems with carburetors, but that was the thing at the time. Where fuel injection, you just get in it, turn the key, and it starts. You don't have to really wait for anything. Maybe for the pump to kick in, it makes sure it's got enough pressure, which is usually around 60 psi. Some I think are more like high performance cars like dragsters and stuff that's even higher. But they go through several gallons just to go to a quarter mile. Because they run at about 12, 13, or maybe more now, I don't know, 1,000 horsepower. They're ridiculous. And after each run, they got to tear the engines down to see if there's any problems in that engine.
Did TC have to do that?
Huh?
Did TC have to do that?
No, not on motorcycles. That doesn't happen so much with motorcycles, but the high-powered dragster cars that are running 10, 12,000 horsepower or more, yeah, because you could break pistons, things can go wrong inside. They don't necessarily break, but the next time you run them, it could break.
Yeah.
Because it's already damaged, so putting all that power to it all of a sudden, I mean, it's incredible. The horsepower they get out of them only because of the nitro fuel. Without the nitro fuel, they wouldn't be that powerful. And it's a mixture of high octane gas and nitro fuel. It's not straight nitro fuel.
Yeah.
Now, even TC did not run straight nitro fuel. He ran a percentage.
Was he fuel injected?
No, he was carbureted. Well, yeah, he was, because John Gregory came up with Hilborn injection. I don't know if he was in the beginning just carbureted. I didn't know him at that time. They came out with the fuel injection, and before any of the Harleys did.
Yeah.
And so he had a bit of an advantage there, because they were running carburetors, and it's hard to control nitro fuel through a carburetor. So they couldn't get the power like he could get out of them little engines. Even though they had twice the engine size, and sometimes two engines, almost triple the size, and they still couldn't beat him. And then the next advantage he came up, and John came up with the 2-speed transmission. Harley was running the similar 1-speed. Well, you lose a lot of power off the line trying to run off in one gear.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where the slipper clutch came in. John come up with that.
Gregory.
John Gregory come up with that. See, John Gregory was the inventor of a lot of the different things on the bike. They were using it in the dragsters already. It just hadn't went over to the bikes yet. So he learned and developed. He got together with Hilborn Injection to develop fuel injection for the Norton. And then he worked on putting that 2-speed transmission in there, so he had a lower gear to take off with while the other guys were struggling to get started with one gear. He was already gone in first gear. And then he just halfway, or not even halfway down the track, mashed the button, and he was in second and gone.
Gone.
And gone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So they had a lot of problems trying to beat him. That's why he won 5 years in a row.
World's fastest man.
World's fastest bike. Now, some of them, if they hooked up right and the power was right, they could beat him. But everything had to be right.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, they'd smoke at the line, or they'd be smoking down the track, and he'd be pulling away because he wasn't spinning the tires so much. So he had some advantages, and he come out good because of that. That was great.
What about his lightweight? He was light too.
Yeah, compared to some of those bike Harley riders, they weighed about 300 pounds.
He barely weighed.
Yeah, you
Probably
would
weighed
think,
130,
you
I
would think
bet.
that weight would help get traction, but it was just the opposite. You know, it didn't really help him at all. It was a killer. I used to watch him run some of those bikes at Union Grove out there, and he'd just take off and he was gone.
Yeah.
And they'd be spinning away, trying to get going because they'd have that engine cranked and that tire spinning, and they just couldn't get traction. You just look at them and kind of snicker. Why are they here?
Why are they?
For embarrassment?
You don't like Harleys, do you?
Oh, I love Harleys.
Oh,
I
you
have
do
no
love
problem
Harleys.
with them.
Oh, okay.
I have no problems with Harleys, but they overbrag about what they are and what they're capable of doing quite often. You know, that's why the Japanese bikes had to come along and embarrass them.
Well, they embarrassed the British too.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
They
the
killed
British embarrassed themselves by not learning new products. It's staying the same. They didn't update nothing.
Yeah.
Other than maybe the size of the bike, inch and cubic inch or cc's, but they didn't try to get into fuel injection when it was available. They didn't get into electronic ignition when it was available. They have now on the new Nortons. They got fuel injection and
Yeah,
electronic.
but back then in this
Back then they were
mid-70s,
screwing themselves.
did they still had kickstart. They
Right.
didn't go to electric start.
Well, Norton only had electric start 1 year. You know that.
75.
And BSA never had electric start.
And I think Triumph didn't have it till
They didn't have
like
it either for
81
many
or
years.
something.
Right. And they finally started putting, but by that time they had all been out of business and they were coming back. Then they started updating.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing better now. I still don't know if they're doing all that good because of the economy, and the things they're trying to make the bikes do, because they want the bikes to be the same as the cars. You know, want them air pollution free, and have a catalytic converter and all that stuff.
Back to that again.
They're killing them. They're killing these bikes.
Yeah.
John had that new Harley that he got rid of. And I asked him about it. I forgot, it was last year's model or the year before. And he said, no, there's a catalytic converter. I looked underneath the bike and there's this thing underneath their catalytic converter. I said, you got to be kidding me.
Plus, the thing wouldn't start. They had to download new software to it. You remember that?
That's another problem with cars too. The same way. Certain things you got to get it to the dealer to have software update because you messed up something by disconnecting something. It lost all its brains. You know, it's like giving a drug to somebody and they lost their brain. You know,
You remind me of that commercial. This is your brain
on drugs.
This is your brain on drugs.
Yeah,
Fried eggs.
so I agree. Some of this stuff is kind of nice, but coming to fix it later on costs you more than the car's worth.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
We're getting back to the carburetor. You can rebuild your carburetor.
Carburetor, you can do injection, but not generally by yourself. But there was a guy not too long ago. You could go to him and he could rebuild certain injection systems and carburetors and stuff like that. As long as you get the parts, that's the main thing.
But your average carburetor, your old Harley carburetor, you rebuild that yourself
Yep,
in an
not
evening.
a problem. Like your Norton carburetors,
Yeah,
easy.
I did
Triumph,
that.
old Triumph carburetors, even a lawnmower carburetor.
Yeah.
You can either rebuild it or replace it. You know, and they're not that expensive. Injection, on the other hand, if it really goes bad and you can't rebuild it, it could cost you thousands of dollars.
Plus, you have a fuel pump, which you don't have in the
Right.
carburetor. Gravity.
Well, you
feed.
got a fuel pump. It's just not it's not in the tank. On a carburetor or on a motorcycle, it's just a drip,
It's just a drip. It's
Right.
gravity feed.
gravity feed.
Where if you got fuel injector, you got to pump in your gas tank.
Now on the Goldwing, because the tank was down so low up by the wheel, you had to have a fuel pump.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work on gravity feed, so you had to have a little mechanical fuel pump on the bike.
It looked like it had a tank, but it wasn't a tank, right?
Well, where the tank was supposed to be was actually just a couple of plastic covers you could open up, and the electronics was on one side, and there was a kickstart on the side here that you could take off, put on the bike, and kickstart the bike.
Really?
Yeah, A lot of people didn't know that. I
I
had
never
it,
knew that.
I had it on 2 of my bikes, but I never used it because it just hit the button and start all the time. Now, where are we going with this?
Well, the Goldwing. How about the center stand? It had a center
It has
stand.
center stand. Yeah.
That's a big bike to put on a center
Well, it wasn't
stand.
that hard though.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't that hard. The way they engineered them, they were pretty good.
Yeah, so that's
They were pretty
those are.
good, pretty easily.
Now, you like the old Goldwings better or the new ones?
Um,
Because they changed quite a bit.
Yeah, styling and performance, bigger motors. 2 of my bikes were both 1,000 cc. They were actually 999 or something like, but they call it 1,000. And the newer ones, they call them 1500s, but they were like a little bit over 1550 or 1545 or something like that. And what's the biggest one? 1800, and I think it was 1854 cc. Now my 1800 VTX is not really 1800. It's only 1799.
One sword. Now, is that fuel
cc
injected?
Smaller. Yeah, it is fuel injection.
Fuel injected.
All the 1800s were fuel injection, but you could get the 1300 with carburetor. Later on, they did come out with fuel injection.
Yeah.
But the 1300s, they were in the beginning were all carbureted. So you could change the carburetors, do certain modifications to them.
Now, what about Jerry's new bike? His
That would be fuel injection now.
what model is that? That's the
Honda Rebel, I think he called it.
Rebel
And
1100.
it's like 1100 or something. And I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised at that. Years ago, all those Honda Rebels were like
250s
250s
and 350s.
Well, no, I don't think it would made it 3. I think they made a 400
Oh,
or 450. They made something a little bigger too.
Now they're
but they
1100.
were all carbureted at that time.
Now it's 1100
Yeah, 1100 fuel injected, and I think it's even liquid cooled engine.
liquid cooled.
Yeah.
What about the transmission?
Well, that's semi-automatic from kind of what I'm hearing. You can shift it or it shifts itself.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a semi-automatic
No
situation.
clutch though.
Apparently not, so it's almost fully automatic. Got probably, I don't know if they would have a torque converter like on a car. Maybe it's something else, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it has either.
Because once you kick it into gear, it would want to pull like an automatic transmission, but I think they've developed something that allows it to like the Can-Am bikes. You can put it in gear and step off the bike and it won't move. Even though it's in gear. It could be moving, but even at idle, it won't move until you give it enough rev, then it'll move.
So even without
So-
having the brake on.
Yeah, so it's like a snowmobile. Snowmobile, you can start and get off of it, and it'll just sit there in gear and it
Until
won't
you
move
rev it.
Until you rev it enough, and then it's like a centrifugal force clutch.
Back to the old mini bike days.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So there's all different kinds. It's like a CVT transmission in a sense. That's what they're putting in some of these new cars.
Oh, those things
They
again.
got it from the idea of the CVT on the snowmobile, and they're putting it in cars. And to some degree, it works beautiful. It's very smooth. Till shit happens,
And then what?
and it just goes all to pieces, and they can't fix it.
Replace it.
You got to replace it, and they're like 12, 14 grand, plus
Wow.
a couple grand to replace it.
The service.
Yeah.
Labor.
Well, it's not service. That's just remove the whole thing and put another one in.
Yeah, labor.
Yeah. And a lot of these people are getting a little irritated about that because here you got a car that might not even be worth $14,000 or $12,000. Then you got to put a transmission.
Yeah.
In some cases, it's junk. So I put that into that old car.
You're
put
upside
it
down,
into a
yeah.
New car.
So you're junking a car. Everything's good except the transmission.
Right. And you have to decide, okay, if I put a transmission, I'm going to keep it another 5, 6, 7 years to get my money's worth and hope everything else holds up in the meantime. Generally, most things kind of hold up, but
They hold up better than we do.
yeah. Yeah, some of these cars are outlasting people. You got cars running around here that were built in, what, 1909 and even beyond that.
Model, yeah.
Yeah, Model A's and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
John just bought a Model A.
Yeah,
John
see, that's
Schwartz.
what I'm saying. And as long as you take care of it, it'll keep going. Any car will keep going as long as you can get parts and fix up the bodies and stuff like that.
Well, okay. Well, I think I got to get going, Don. Thank you for your words of wisdom.
Right.
How's
right.
your coupon clipping going?
I'm only about a little over halfway through this thing. She gave me quite a few.
Each one is a deuce, though.
Yep.
Each one's $2 for hash browns.
I figured out 2 times 365.
Yeah, 700.
That's how much money I'm saving.
Yeah,
This little
$2.
meal only cost me $3.99 a day.
fantastic. Well, okay, Don. Thanks again.
Yep.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be here.